Good morning, my Real News Midday TV family. Thank you so much for tuning in this morning, and I'm wishing for everyone a wonderful and a blessed Sunday. And in the news this morning for February 11, 2024, 3 alleged goat thieves arrested in Manchester. 3 men were arrested after they were reportedly found with 5 stolen goats in their possession in Emporium District, Downs, Manchester on Saturday morning. A police source said a farmer reported that 5 goats were stolen from a property in Alligator Pond, Manchester, sometime Friday night. The police, acting on information, went to Emporium about 8 a.m. where they saw 4 men and the stolen goats. 3 of the men were apprehended while the 4th man ran and escaped. 4 of the 5 goats were found alive and the farmer alerted. A police source said 2 of the men are aged 28, while the 3rd person is a 59-year-old man. The men are from the communities of Sea Air Emporium and the Precious Plain, all near the Manchester-St. Elizabeth border. This, the latest recovery of stolen goats, is the 3rd pre-day larceny bust in the past month in Manchester. On February 1, 3 men were arrested and charged after they were found with over 600 pounds of stolen carrots and Irish potatoes. On January 23, 3 men were arrested and charged after they were found with a stolen ram goat. University student arrested after firearm and ammo seizure in St. Catherine. Lawmen assigned to the Specialized Operations, Special Weapons and Tactics arrested a university student following the seizure of a firearm and several rounds of ammunition along Peace Lane, Newlands in Portmore, St. Catherine on Friday, February 9. His name is being withheld pending further investigations. Reports are that about 10:05 p.m., officers were on patrol in the area when they came upon a group of men standing in front of a shop. The accused man's behavior reportedly aroused the suspicion of the lawmen, who accosted and searched him. A 9mm pistol with a magazine containing 8 9mm cartridges was subsequently found in a gray and a black one-strap bag. Cops seized ganja valued at $12 million in St. Elizabeth. The Area 3 Narcotics Division seized over 1,200 pounds of ganja during a snap raid in Little Park District, St. Elizabeth on Saturday, February 10. Reports are that between 10 a.m. and 12 p.m., lawmen carried out an operation in the area. Upon their approach, 4 men reportedly ran from the site and escaped in bushes. The ganja was seized and destroyed. The illicit drug has an estimated street value of $12 million. No arrest was made in relation to the seizure. Chinese man facing multiple charges following attempted murder. Detectives assigned to the St. James Police Division have arrested and charged a 32-year-old man in connection with a murder attempt in Amity Hall, St. James on January 27. He is Ricardo Edwards, otherwise called the Chinaman, of Lottery District in St. James. Edwards has been charged with shooting with intent, using a firearm to commit a felony, and the possession of a prohibited weapon. Reports are that about 8:45 p.m., Edwards drove to a shop and opened gunfire at a man there. The man escaped and reported the matter to the police. Edwards was taken into custody and was subsequently charged following a question and answer interview on Friday, February 2. His court date is being finalized. Lawyer accused of punching out a female's tooth. A lawyer has found herself in hot water after she allegedly knocked out a woman's tooth during a brawl at the offices of the Registrar's General Department on Duke Street, downtown Kingston. The lawyer, Nicole Lawrence, has been charged with assault occasioning grievous bodily harm. The woman whose tooth was knocked out demanded $600,000 in compensation when the matter was mentioned in the Kingston and the St. Andrew Parish Court on Thursday. She argued that she will have to undergo cosmetic surgery to replace the tooth. The court heard that Cassandra Brown, the woman who lost the tooth, was being assisted by a customer care representative when Lawrence walked up to the counter seeking to receive assistance. Brown reportedly told the attorney that she had not yet completed her business. At that point, a verbal altercation reportedly ensued between the women. The altercation turned physical, and Lawrence allegedly punched Brown in the face, causing a tooth to fall. Lawrence alleged that Brown beat her on the thumb. Brown has been charged with unlawful wounding. Having heard the allegations, Senior Parish Judge Lauren Cole Montague commented that this seems like something that went from 0 to 100. Lawrence's attorney, Stuart Stevenson, said, "Your Honor, you can understand being in a government office and patience dries out, but let me not say much." Cole Montague retorted that when she goes to the government offices, "I don't wear judge on my head and I don't see the reason." The medical certificates in the case remain outstanding. The matter was adjourned until March 5. IC urges Ministry CMU review after state vehicles vanish. Director of Investigation at the Integrity Commission, Kevin Stevenson, has recommended that the Ministry of Finance and the Public Service carry out a review to determine the loss of the government stemming from the alleged negligence of public officers, which resulted in the disappearance of 4 vehicles belonging to the state. The vehicles were in the custody of the then Ministry of Transport and Mining and the Caribbean Maritime University. The IC Director of Investigation has also recommended that Financial Secretary Darlene Morrison should take such action as may be necessary and appropriate to recover the loss. After conducting an investigation, Stevenson concluded that 4 government vehicles belonging to the then Ministry of Transport and Mining that were loaned to the CMU cannot be accounted for by either the ministry or the institution. The recommendations are contained in an investigation report, which was tabled in Parliament on Tuesday, more than 2 weeks after it was sent by the IC on January 22. The Speaker's ruling is that investigation reports from the IC should be tabled in Parliament as soon as possible. The Director of Investigation also concludes that the former head of the CMU, Professor Fritz Pinnock, Dr. Aaron McLean, Director, Planning and Development CMU, and Elaine Hayden, former Director of Projects and Strategic Initiatives CMU, were the accountable officers of the university at the material time and were responsible for the proper management and accounting of the CMU's assets, including transport vehicles. He said that the named university personnel, in their capacity as accountable officers, failed to maintain adequate records regarding the use and the safekeeping of Government of Jamaica motor vehicles in accordance with their legal responsibilities under the Financial Administration and Audits Act, and they revised the comprehensive motor vehicle policy for the public sector. He also recommends that, if not yet implemented, the CMU implements a policy which addresses the acquisition, maintenance, and the disposal of motor vehicles and other Government of Jamaica assets consistent with the FAA Act, and the Government of Jamaica revised the comprehensive motor vehicle policy for the public sector. Additionally, the CMU should ensure that the policy provides clear and unambiguous instructions regarding the maintenance and the disposal of motor vehicles. Enforcement Inspector gets a full salary as investigations continue, rehousing development breach. The National Environment and Planning Agency appears to have backed away on its decision to slash 20% from the salary of the enforcement inspector who first reported breaches detected at a housing development undertaken by a senior public officer and his wife. NEPA is the country's environmental regulatory authority. The inspector, Ryan Henry, was informed via a letter dated January 17 that he was being placed on interdiction with 80% of his salary to facilitate a disciplinary investigation into allegation of gross misconduct, the news first reported. But Lambert Brown, the industrial relations consultant representing Henry, pushed back against the actions taken by NEPA, charging that the interdiction and the salary cut were unlawful and oppressive. Responding to Brown's assertions, NEPA disclosed last week that Henry received his full compensation for the month of January. Brown confirmed that the enforcement inspector received his full salary, and based on the status of the investigation, no instructions have been issued for his compensation to be deducted for the month of February, said Carleen Hamilton-Reed, Director of Human Resource Management and Development at NEPA, in a letter dispatched to Brown last Monday. There was no explanation for the change of course. Calls by the news to Peter Knight, Chief Executive Officer of NEPA, went unanswered on Friday. Hamilton-Reed also indicated that the disciplinary investigation, which has since been turned over to the independent industrial relations consultant, Ralston Peters, was projected to end last Friday. Up to late Saturday, it was unclear whether the probe was completed. 3 years ago, Henry was the first NEPA inspector to flag breaches at the controversial Charlie Mount Drive St. Andrew apartment complex constructed by Mark Barnett, president of the state-owned National Water Commission, his wife Annette, and the developer Philip Smith. A report by the Integrity Commission revealed that on December 17, 2020, during a seventh visit to the construction site, he detected that the layout had deviated from the drawings that had been approved, received and date stamped by NEPA on July 3, 2019. The Commission is Jamaica's main anti-corruption body. It concluded in a scathing 90-page report made public last October that the apartment complex, now listed as completed, has 6 two-bedroom units and 6 three-bedroom units in breach of the permits issued. The building planning and environmental permits issued to the Barnetts on August 13, 2019 were for the construction of 2 3-story blocks consisting of 12 one-bedroom units, the IC report revealed. The breaches uncovered by Henry, along with others found earlier, were outlined to the Barnetts in a warning letter written by Carleen Martin, acting manager of NEPA's Enforcement Division. Nearly 9 months later, John Wollock, director of NEPA's Legal and Enforcement Division, wrote to the Barnetts requesting that they submit applications to the relevant authorities, seeking an amendment consequent on the project's departure from what was approved. The Barnetts did not comply, despite an undertaking from Annette Barnett that they would, the IC report said. The Office of the Director of Public Prosecutions, in their legal opinion, indicated that the allegations against the NWC boss and his wife, an attorney, supported the filing of criminal charges against them, but said the 12-month window for doing so had already elapsed. However, NEPA, in their January 17 letter to Henry, blamed the findings of the IC investigation on his gross misconduct. NEPA said the disciplinary investigation was based on allegations that Henry brought the regulator authority into disrepute because of his failure to satisfactorily carry out his monitoring duties at the Charlie Mount complex. The agency signaled, too, that Henry was being investigated for inefficient work performance for allegedly failing to carry out established enforcement procedures with respect to monitoring the project. Legal experts and public commentators have questioned whether Henry is the sacrificial lamb for NEPA's failure to initiate a criminal prosecution for the breaches within the 12-month window stipulated in its legislative framework. Brown went further, questioning whether the investigation involves any other NEPA employees, including the CEO. What is not clear is whether or not this investigation is aimed solely at Mr. Henry, or whether it involves every member of staff, including the CEO, who had some responsibility for what has become the Charlie Mount scandal, the industrial relations consultant asked in a letter to Hamilton Reed on Thursday. We would hate to believe that Mr. Henry is being persecuted for answering the request to speak with the nation's highest anti-corruption body. A fair investigation must include all potential players in this matter. Mr. Henry cannot and must not be used as a scapegoat.